we're gonna go into the perfect training split for football combine training, and we're gonna start right now. So the main thing we have to identify when we're handling combine athletes, or if we're training for a pro day, or even if we've got athletes that are training for, they're going to a collegiate camp. Let's say we have a high school football player, they're going to a collegiate camp, and when they're going to the collegiate camp, there's gonna be some tests that they're gonna be put through. Okay, so if we understand that you're going to this collegiate camp, they're gonna run a 40, they're gonna do the shuttle, maybe they do a vertical jump and a bench press, something like that, right? If we can identify that, our training needs to be built around management of stress to optimize recovery. Okay, so the first thing is to lay out the week based around management around recovery, specifically for the legs. Okay, so when we're looking at leg-based training, we have to identify now the tests. Typically, if we're training athletes for a combine or for the pro day, okay, specifically the pro day, let's just look at most athletes are just gonna be going to the pro day. There's only about 300 football players every year going to the combine. The rest of them are going to pro days. They're gonna go through all of their mobility work. They'll be screened in their underwear. They're gonna squat, they're gonna lunge, they're gonna do their arms out. So we need to make sure that you're doing your mobility. Now, after they screen them, they video how they're squatting without their shoes on. The next thing that they typically will do will be a vertical jump. Okay, sometimes they might do bench press first. It's likely they will do vertical jump first. Then they'll go in, they'll do a bench press at 225 for a rep out. Then the next aspect, they will go in and they'll do some type of broad jump. After they do the broad jump, they're gonna run the 40. After they run the 40, they're likely gonna do shuttle and 3-cone. After they do shuttle and the 3-cone, then they're gonna do the drills. That's how a pro day is laid out. That's exactly how it's done. It can be a quick 1.5 hour session if you've got 6 to 7 guys. It can be longer, drawn out over 3.5 hours if you got 20 guys. It really is dependent on how well the teams are who are running it. And typically it will be an NFL team that runs it. Now, the way they're measuring these things, it's gonna be on a vertec for the vertical jump. It's gonna be on a bench press for the bench press. It's gonna be on the field and you gotta stick the landing for the broad. Then when you're running the 40, it's likely gonna be hand timed unless you're at the combine, which is absolutely insane, but that's the way it is. Hand time shuttle, hand time on the 3-cone. So we know the drills. Okay, we can understand and see that's what we're working towards. Even if we're in high school, we've got to train for the shuttle, we got to train for the 40. We probably should do the 3-cone just for the fact that it's a decent drill for agility. And then finally, the broad jump and the vertical are going to transfer phenomenally to how well you can put force into the freaking ground. So those are the drills that we're looking at. So when we build out our week, we currently start the week. This is a little weird, but we will start it on a Wednesday. Okay, so what that means is that some of the back ends of the week, so in the football week, let's say on a Tuesday would be an easy day, okay? But the priority of the week is typically gonna be day 1, okay? So on day 1, what we're gonna focus on is a 40, okay? Now, if we're looking at periodizing the entire 65 days, 70 days of training, if day 1's priority is the 40, that doesn't mean we're running the 40 every single time day 1 comes around. What that means is we might work on the 10-yard start. We might work on technical aspects of starting positions. We're gonna learn the technique of the start. We're gonna learn how we drive through 7 steps through that first 10. We're gonna learn how we can hold positions to then transition to top speed around 20 to 25 yards, okay? And then throughout time, we'll then get into some of the full 40 sprinting. We might do some sled sprints on this day, and we probably will even be doing some technical shuttle work. That's the other aspect, is that these tests are all technical. We have to learn the technique. You have to be taught the technique properly. You have to learn it. You have to repeat it over and over and over again. So day 1, speed work. Then we will probably do a lift in the afternoon if we have the ability to train twice a day. Athlete's recovery period, it has to be focused between the 2 sessions, and then leading into day 1, they've got to be fully recovered and they have to feel good. They have to feel nice and twitchy. If we see here, I have written down here, auto-regulate the session around low time constraint force production or high time force production, meaning if low time, that's gonna be our speed-based training. Okay, so that means every time that we touch the ground, we don't have a lot of time to apply force, so we've gotta focus on that high force output in low periods of time. Then the strength training is gonna be where we have high time to apply force. It's gonna be more strength-based. That's where we're gonna see some gains in vertical jumps and gains in broad jumps. Day 2, now typically this is gonna be focused around upper body work, strength and endurance in the upper body. We're gonna have leg mobility work, and we're gonna do some video review. Okay, so day 2 is more more about the upper body. We're gonna have some sauna work. We're gonna have more mobility work. And then we're gonna just watch some videos of shuttles, 3 cones, sprints, so that we can comprehend how the technique is done, even for vertical jump. And all of this has to be done while you're still thinking and still training the actual drill positions. Now, day 3, we're gonna get back to some leg work. Now, this is gonna focus on development of the shuttle, the 3 cone, and then some potentially resisted running. The reason why I like to focus on shuttle work and 3 cone work 2 days after is because it's very challenging to get to high speeds when you're doing the shuttle. It's not gonna happen. You're all focused on agility and deceleration, acceleration. Okay, so basically we look at 3 styles or 3 types of speed sessions. We have an acceleration session, we have a max velocity session, we have an agility session or acceleration, deceleration. This day 3 here specifically will be around agility. It's gonna be around the shuttle, it's gonna be around the 3 cone. We're gonna auto-regulate the lift in the afternoon. So day 3, we're gonna also do a lift in the afternoon. It's likely gonna be a bit lighter and just dynamic focus. Day 4, now we're going back into some technique work. So this is gonna be like another recovery day, but we're gonna watch film. We're gonna do walkthroughs. We're gonna go like 50 to 60% walkthroughs. We're gonna do some trunk work. We're gonna try to focus a lot on mobility because remember, they're doing mobility screenings. That's a test that no one trains for. No one actually prepares their ankle mobility for this, their lat mobility, so that they can lengthen their arms, things along those lines, okay? So day 4, technique work, study film, and then we're doing 60% run-throughs with technique, and we're gonna get back into the sauna. Day 5, athlete day. This is when we're gonna get back into do some plyometric work. We're gonna do some vertical jump, some broad jump, but we're gonna do drills with plyometrics that are gonna transfer really well to those broad jumps to get you a 10+ foot broad jump, to get you a vertical jump over 35 inches. And we're also gonna focus on some unilateral outputs, so something like champion strides. It's what else we're gonna really dial in is what plyometrics can we use to improve the 10, to improve the 40, to improve the shuttle, to improve the 3 cone. Okay, then we can actually use some of those drills to potentiate the athlete during the pro day or during the combine. Okay, because now they're familiar with those drills. They see how their hip action is. They know how to whip from the hip. They see how they apply force into the ground. They can feel how the technique on the vertical or on the broad is actually rolling. And then they can use those technical drills or use those plyometrics then in the pro day or in the combine to then make them perform even better. Okay, now day 6, we're gonna do upper body day, and that's gonna be a recovery day as well after we do that upper body day. We wanna try to get them a little bit stronger in their upper body, but ideally the whole test is gonna be based around 225 rep out. So if we can get their 5 rep, their 7 rep, their 9 rep up through the roof, guess what? Their rep outs are gonna be through the roof. Okay, so that's some big concepts as well there. And then we can use that as further recovery for their leg day. Then they're gonna have a day off, and then they're gonna be back to day 1. So that split is in depth, but it's purposeful. Every single day has to have a purpose. Every single session has to be dialed into one of the tests. And we've got to analyze that, and that's how we built out Peak Strength, our strength training app. We've looked at all these tests. We've built football-specific programming to optimize your performance so that you can run faster, you can jump higher, you can jump longer, and you can cut as rapidly as possible. Head over to peakstrength.app, the Google Play Store or the Apple iOS Store. You can download Peak Strength, select what position that you play in football. You're gonna get a program built around this successful system, built around what you need to do to become an absolute freak. Because remember, freaks, if you wanna become a champion, you've always gotta cultivate your power. Peace.